Hello everyone, Soberoni of G&A Reviews here with another event guide. This time we're going to be taking a look at the currently running Chaldea Boys 2021 event in FGO NA, aka An Old Spider Spins Webs of Memory. This event is actually going to be more of a mini event since it's only 1 week long, so it's a lot simpler and easier than most of the FGO events. Nevertheless, this is still going to be an in-depth look at the event, covering everything from the new craft essences to the best farming strategies. So to help you guys out, I've included timestamps in the description down below so you can jump ahead to whichever part of the video you need the most. I should also mention that all you need to do to participate in this event is to clear Fuyuki, which is the first chapter of the game. So with that said, let's take a look at the event rate-ups. Unfortunately, there aren't going to be any new servants coming out with this event. However, the featured servant, Moriarty, will be having a raid up throughout the event. In addition to Moriarty, there are also going to be many non-limited male servants on raid up as well. However, I don't really recommend rolling for them due to the fact that they share a raid up with Moriarty, which means your chances of getting them are going to be cut in half. As for Moriarty himself, he is a good single target archer who is capable of being a good support and a good boss killer. However, I really wouldn't recommend rolling for him considering that we just had the Prisma rerun, so you should have your copy of Kuro, and we have Super Orion coming out later this year who is a much better archer overall. So unless you really love Moriarty, I think your best bet is to save your quartz. Thankfully, what this event lacks in new servants, it more than makes up for with new craft essences. We're going to be getting a total of 9 new CEs with this event. There are going to be 2 new 5-star CEs, 3 new 4-star CEs, and 4 new 3-star CEs. Starting off with the 3-star CEs first, we have Under the Knife. This CE will grant the servant a one-time evasion as well as increase their crit damage by 5%. Angel Breath will increase their HP recovery rate by 5% and their NP gain by 5%. Masquerade of the Vampire will grant 1 crit star per turn and increase star generating by 10%. And Trojan Bar will increase NP charge by 1% every turn as well as NP damage by 5%. Moving on to the 4-star craft essences, we have Foresight and Profoundness. This grants the servant Ignore Evasion as well as NP gain plus 15%. Riot of the Cherry Blossoms will increase Arch card effectiveness by 10% and crit damage by 8%. And Mentor and I will increase Quick and Arch card effectiveness by 8% and NP damage by 5%. And finally, with the 5-star craft essences, we have the Dante's Files, the Case of the True Mastermind, which increases Quick and crit damage by 10% and NP gain by 15%, and Dance with the Round Table, which increases star absorption by 400% and NP gain by 20%. In addition to those new craft essences, we also have 1 new command code with the 4-star Coffin of the Fall. This command code will remove 1 debuff immunity buff from an enemy when you're attacking with the engraved card. It'll also increase crit damage against good alignment enemies by 20%. This can be a good anti-servant command code for crit servants like Karna, Ku Prototype, and Gil. I would recommend attaching it to a buster card for the maximum amount of damage. And just like with every event, there is going to be an event shop where you can purchase a bunch of Ascension materials. There's going to be 3 different currencies for this event. The bronze currency is going to be the coasters, the silver currency is the cloth, and the gold currency are the shakers. With the coasters, you're going to be able to purchase Serpent Jewels, Stakes, Heroes Proof, 3-star and 4-star foes, and 3-star and 4-star experience. The cloth will trade in for Chaos Talons, Octuplet Crystals, Void Dust, Archer, Rider, and Berserker pieces, and 4-star foes. And finally, these shakers can be traded in for a new costume for Moriarty, as well as Demon Hearts, Black Grease, Ghost Lanterns, Archer, Rider, and Berserker monuments, and 4-star foes. And as you can see, unlike the usual events, there aren't going to be any craft essences purchasable from the shop in this event. With the event shop and craft essences covered, normally I would cover the event structure. However, this being a mini event, there isn't really much to cover here. Outside of the usual farming currency to buy stuff from the shop, there isn't a gimmick or unique structure to this event, so there's no point ladders or raids to farm or any kind of mission. All you really need to do for this event is to log in every day for 7 days so that you can get that command code. Every day that you log in, you're also going to get a glass which you can trade in at the shop for a summoning ticket. Additionally, there is one unique feature of this event, which is going to be the free craft essence. When the event starts, you're going to receive an item in your inbox that you can trade in for one of the event gacha CEs of your choice. This means that you can pick any one of the 9 CEs that I covered earlier. I highly recommend picking one of the 5-star craft essences since those are the most rare, and I suggest against picking any of the 3-star CEs because they're easier to obtain from the gacha if you really want them. Dance with the Round Table is the best craft essence choice in my opinion. Star absorbed craft essences are very rare, and they are excellent on a lot of crit sabers, lancers, and assassins. It also has pure attack stats, so it significantly buffs a servant's damage. And a little bit of additional NP gain is never bad to have, especially if you're a servant who's going to be critting a lot. Ideally, this is a great craft essence for servants like Karna, Kama, and Kagetora. If you already have a Star Absorbed craft essence like Talk on the Hot Sands, then I recommend going with Riot of Cherry Blossom. This is another really good pickup that also has great attack stats for servants, and it's really strong on arch crit servants like Kuro, Kagetora, and Assassin Lee. There is also going to be a bit of story with this event, however it is going to be short. There's only 5 story chapters, and a new story quest is going to open every day. The quests are going to be pretty easy since this event is also designed for newer players, and most of these story quests are just going to be story with only a few battles here and there. There's nothing too difficult about the event story. Even newer players who just beat Fuyuki will be able to complete the story, and it's absolutely worth doing because your reward is going to be a grail. So now let's go into a little bit of the strategy that you should be employing to farm this event. There are going to be a number of bonuses that you can take advantage of to make farming a little bit easier. Firstly, all male servants, including genderless servants and Orion, will do an additional 50% extra damage during the event. But in addition to that, using the gacha craft essences will also increase the currency drops. The 3-star gacha craft essences will increase the coaster drops by 1, the 4-star gacha craft essences will increase the cloth drops by 1, and the 5-star craft essences are going to increase the shaker drops by 1. As I mentioned earlier, there aren't going to be any craft essences available in the shop, so you should just focus on farming whichever currency you need the most in order to purchase the ascension materials that you need. Much like the story quests, the free quests are going to unlock every day, so not all of them are going to be available immediately, and the better free quests are going to be available much later on in the event. As for which free quest you should be farming, the 40 AP milk quest, which unlocks on day 2, is going to be the best place to farm coasters, and the quest will also drop Lenugos and Heroes Proof. The soda free quest on day 3 is going to be the best place to farm cloth, and the quest will also drop black grease and spinal fluid. And finally, you're going to want to farm the shakers on the rock free quest on day 4, which is also going to drop divine wines and horseshoes. And finally, what's an event without a challenge quest? Now this challenge quest, like all of them, is going to be very difficult, and it's not going to be available to everyone. It's only going to unlock after you've completed all of the event story, and once you've beaten Solomon in the main story. As for the challenge quest itself, it's going to be a straightforward fight against Sherlock Holmes. Holmes is going to have 2 break bars as well as a bunch of different skills. At the start of the battle, he's going to increase his NP resistance and his defense for 5 turns. Once you break his first break bar, he's going to apply the effect of increasing his arch card effectiveness every turn for 5 turns. And he's also going to permanently increase his crit strength. And once you break his second break bar, he is then going to apply a permanent attack buff to himself. In addition to that though, he's also still going to have access to his Noble Phantasm. He's also capable of applying Taunt on one of your allies and removing all of their buffs. And if you bring Moriarty as your guest servant to this fight, he is going to generate 10 crit stars per turn every turn. Now while this fight is straightforward, it isn't exactly the easiest fight. Holmes can hit very hard due to his buffs, especially his crits. His Noble Phantasm also allows him to ignore defense and invincibility, as well as lower your defense. So he can easily one-shot you, and there isn't really any defense against it, aside from Guts. When it comes to strategy, for the first phase of this fight, you should just try to stall him out for 5 turns, until he eventually loses his defense and NP resist buffs. Once those buffs are gone, you can whittle down his HP bar until it breaks. Once his first break bar is gone and he's in phase 2, you should try to kill him him right away, as soon as possible, before he can start stacking his buffs every turn. I recommend saving your strongest Noble Phantasm for one-shotting him during this phase. In the last phase, after both break bars are down, you should just try to rush down his final HP bar. Since he can pierce defense and invincibility, there isn't much use in trying to stall him or being defensive. For recommended servants, I highly suggest bringing Berserkers and Avengers to maximize your damage against Sherlock since he's a ruler. Avenger Jolter does make this quest a whole lot easier, as does Dante's, and even Berserker Jolter can be very strong here due to her high NP burst damage. Herc and Ku Alter's guts are invaluable for this fight as well, just be wary of the buff removal from Holmes. Servants who can delay Holmes' NP with stuns, NP drain, and NP seal are also valuable, like Steno, Tamamo, and Waver. And strong buffers like Merlin, Shakespeare, and Scotty are good to bring as well. And remember, if you bring male servants, they will still have that 50% extra damage buff for this fight. And that's about all there is to this event. Remember, it is a mini event, it's only a week long, so it's not too complicated. Keep in mind that not all of the quests are going to be available right away, the better quests are going to come later on, and because there's less time in this event, that also means less time to farm. So you really want to be AP efficient with your farming if you hope to clear the shop. And if this video helped you, please do make sure to leave a like and subscribe if it really helped you. If you haven't already, do follow us on Twitter, follow us on Twitch, and join the party over on our Discord, all linked in the description down below. And until next time, this is Soberoni, signing out. Later.